Welcome in, team, and today is part 2 or the second of our green kettlebell workouts. Green denoting that it's an entry-level beginner type workout. So anyone that has a kettlebell of a suitable weight, and when I say suitable weight, I'm talking about something light enough that you're able to hold over your head. Okay? If you've got one of those, then welcome to today's workout. Here we're going to teach you a few of the fundamental movements, string them together into a workout and hopefully get a bit of a sweat on as well. So if you'd like to skip straight to the workout, if you're quite confident and you just want to get warmed up for something bigger, check the link below or check the description below. There's a link to the chapter marker. Otherwise, stick around and I will be talking through the basic movements in this workout today. So first off in the movement list, I should bring the list up so I can see it. We have the glute bridge. So the other piece of equipment is the mat. You don't need a mat, but it will actually make this one a little bit more comfortable. The reason I've got the glute bridge as our first movement is because the kettlebell is a very posterior and core-based piece of equipment. It's gonna teach you to use your core. It's gonna require a lot of glute activation, so we may as well activate the glutes first off. What you do is laying on or sitting down on your mat. You're gonna grab your kettlebell, hold it nice and firmly, pop the flat part or just any of the comfortable parts on your pelvis here. Now it's not sitting directly on any bones. If anything, it's kind of sitting on the squishy part of your belly. You're gonna bring your feet up towards your butt. And what we're gonna do from here, using your hands to stabilize the bell, we're just gonna squeeze our butt, squeeze our hamstrings and push our hips up towards the ceiling. So this should be a familiar movement to you. If you've done a few of our bodyweight workouts, the glute bridges here are a familiar movement, but now that we've got a bell in our hands, it's adding a little bit of extra weight, a little bit of extra resistance there. Try and keep your knees in the same position. I don't mind if they're wide or if they're close, but as you do the bridge, don't let them spread or don't let them change positions. Keep them where they are from the beginning, squeeze up, and then lower it down nice and controlled. Cool, so that's the first movement, the glute bridge. We're gonna engage our glutes for this one. After the glute bridge, we're gonna do something a little bit intense, a little bit scary. It's the knee push-ups with a kettlebell, okay? Right, so this one, what I'd like to do with this is we're gonna work the chest muscles, but instead of using the kettlebell as a weight or as a resistance today, we're actually gonna use it as a tool to increase the range of motion of our shoulder and elbow, okay? So what we're gonna do, 2 repetitions of this or 2 rounds of this, left hand, right hand. We're gonna keep the mat on the floor because I wanna do this from the knees. So instead of a regular knee push-up, whereby we're keeping the butt, the knees and the shoulder in line, and we're performing a push-up like this, we're gonna grab the kettlebell, have that down underneath one of our hands. So I'm gonna do it on the right hand first. And you see what it does, at the top of the push-up, we've actually got a little bit of a bend in this right hand to begin with. Left hand is nice and straight. We're gonna drop ourselves down. Now, I'd like you to try and think about getting your chest all the way to the ground. But what that's gonna do, you can see here, the right hand is actually gonna get into a bit of a deficit, they call it. So instead of stopping at the ground here, you're gonna get that right hand a little bit higher up. So that's what I'd like you to focus on. 2 things that we're working on here, the range of motion with that one hand, that's elevated as part of the push-up. But the second thing is you can see the bell's a little bit unstable. So you're gonna now be activating your grip strength. You need to hold onto that hand real tightly and use your forearms. So you're gonna go right hand and then left hand with this one. You might find that there's a side that feels a little bit better than the other side. Take note of that and we're gonna work on those imbalances. Cool. So after the pushes, we're gonna get into the swings. I'd like you to move your mat. I'd like you to think about this because the swing is a fundamental movement with the kettlebell, but I didn't touch on it yesterday. I actually did a movement called the figure 8 where I mentioned the swing, but what I want you to think about now today while you're doing a kettlebell swing, there's a lot of cues to this. It may not feel very natural. It may not feel very good when you first start learning. And if you are in stream right now, check out the link to Discord. If you'd like me to give you a bit of a form check, I don't mind sending if you send a video to me in my DMs or you chuck it into the form check channel in Discord, we can have a talk about what you may or may not be doing right or wrong with your swings there. So the swing is a hamstring and a glute exercise. What I want you to focus on is the hip hinge, okay? So when we're doing our swings, the last thing I want you to be doing is a squat. So no squats. This is not a squat. This is a hip hinge, okay? So the things to take note of are that what we're doing is we're actually driving the bell up into the air using our hips and our glutes. Now, this is one of those movements where it's actually very, very hard to show you in slow motion. We can't actually break it down into certain bits because the swing itself is a pendulum. We need to be working at our own natural resonance of the arm swing. So this is what it looks like. You start off with the bell just in front of you. See how I move the bell from the deadlift position out to the front? The reason for this is that once we do pick it up, we're gonna drop down from a little bit of a good morning, a bent leg good morning. We're gonna pick it up, drive it behind our legs, and then use the hips to thrust it out, okay? So that's one swing. If you're practicing this, what you're gonna do, hip hinge. So you got all the loading in the hamstrings and the glutes here. Grabbing the bell, pulling the shoulder blades back, you're gonna push it back behind your legs. And once it's reached the apex of the reverse swing, you're gonna thrust forward like a big old powerful good morning and use that thrust to lift it up. There's no shoulders. Think of your arms as ropes, your hands as hooks. Pick it up, swing it back, thrust. And then each time it drops down, you notice how I'm standing up straight until it reaches about here. That's when I hinge at the hips. Feel for the apex of the swing, and once it reaches the furthest that it'll go backwards, I then thrust forward again, okay? Mad Monkey does get that wrong, and I used to get that wrong all the time as well. People on stream would pick me up on that one, because here's what it looks like. If you swing too early, or if you hinge too early, right? It looks a bit like this. It can kind of be like sloppy. It's very sloppy. It's very unhinged. You're using too much shoulder, and you can tell when someone's actually using their shoulders to lift it up. You get that kind of straining as it's rising, when realistically, the power and the strain should be from the bottom here, okay? Exactly, Makaleo. It's like a bowstring and release. So it's tension, 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 bang, right? So this is, again, what it should look like. Now, I don't care how high the bell actually goes. It shouldn't make any difference how high the bell goes. The height that the bell reaches is gonna be determined by how much power you're hinging up with your hips, okay? Right? Sherman Tank, yes, it is. I can touch on that after the workout if you like. So here's a heavier bell. This one's much heavier, okay? Right? And you can see that when there's something heavier, it's the same mechanics behind it, okay? It just requires a hell of a lot more power to get that bell up higher because it's a heavier weight, okay? Woo. So we'll pop that over here. We'll work with the grey bell. So that's the kettlebell swing. You might need to pause. You might need to do a few reps just to get the hang of that one, but see how you go, okay? If you're starting off with a nice light weight, if you feel your lower back starting to fatigue, stop, shake it out, do a few good mornings to help activate those glutes, and then try again, okay? So after the swings, we're gonna go to around the worlds. This one is a core-based movement. And again, I probably should have said this more during the swing tutorial, bracing your core. As the bell is lowering, anything you're doing with a kettlebell, you wanna be standing tall, squeezing your butt, bracing your core. You want a nice, solid core here, okay? So with the around the world, we're gonna start off with the bell up in front of us. We're gonna hold the bell in one hand around the side. You're gonna do 4 full rotations around yourself, and then you're gonna change direction. So you see with myself here, I'm standing tall. I'm really trying to engage all of the muscles in my abdomen, my core, even my quads and my hamstrings I'm engaging, so I'm standing up nice and tall. See, with a lightweight, you don't get it so much, but as soon as you get this big heavy lad here, see, you lose it for a second. You gotta really focus. So this is why you wanna start light, because See, just by adding a few kilos there, it throws everything off, my grip, my core bracing, my balance, and it becomes more difficult. So start light with these ones. We got that one, the around the worlds. After around the worlds, we're gonna do the single arm swings, okay? So now the swings that we were looking at before, these guys, that's two-handed swings, obviously. We're using both hands with that one. What we're gonna do now is learn to use a single arm. So we're gonna do single arm swings left and then single arm swings right. Give me a sec, I just wanna make sure I... Yes, I did. Swing arm, swing, single arms. Left and right. It's a little bit more complex if we do the hand-to-hand swings, one. So we're just gonna keep in one hand for 30-second blocks. So a single hand swing, what I'd like you to focus on, exactly the same hip mechanics, exactly the same core bracing, but instead of having two hands on the bell, it's gonna be a single hand, okay? Now what I want you to do is try and keep the shoulders in exactly the same posture. It may be the case that when you've got the single arm, you are gonna be leaning forward a little bit more, like that. It just happens because you've got a weight in your hand. But I'd like you to try and keep the shoulders lined up as best as you can. The reason for that is all of the unilateral stuff that we do, I like to try and teach it so that we can maintain a posture. We can work all of the core muscles to negate any sort of rotation that we have by having an imbalanced loading on our bodies. So, single arm, the rules with this one, normally when you've got two hands, the bell's not gonna rotate. You're gonna have the handle going left to right, directly across your body. With this though, what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna rotate it. So when the bell is at the bottom, it's gonna be in the posture of, now they told us not to teach people this because it's a little bit offensive sometimes. I don't see any issue with it. Thumb up the bum. You're not actually gonna put your thumb up your bum, but if you can imagine yourself holding the bell like this, okay? The direction of your thumb across there, when you're at the bottom of the swing, you're actually gonna rotate it so your thumb is pointing towards your butt. So thumb towards the bum, okay? As you thrust and bring it up, it's gonna go flat. So it's gonna start, at the bottom of the swing, as you pull it backwards, rotate it, and then up, horizontal. So rotate and horizontal. So a single arm swing should look something like this. Bit more grip strength required, so if you need to drop the bell, if you need to take a break so that you don't lose grip strength, please do. No one's gonna be upset if you need to take a break. So up. So you see I'm trying to keep my shoulders as straight as possible, okay? Still with the powerful hip hinge, and with the hinge that doesn't start until my arm is down almost at my waist. Same with the left arm. Let's go from the side on here. I'm gonna start down here, shoulder blades back, nice solid core, bracing in the glutes and the hamstrings here. There we go. Single arm swing, nice. If you did a barbell deadlift but brought it all the way up, would you just enter as a deadlift to your chest? That would be a row or a clean. Yeah, Sherman tank. That would be something different. Cool. Okay, so after the single arm swings, what I'm building us up to, okay, is what we call the bottoms up clean. I'd really like people to learn cleans early on in their journey. And this is something that I completely forgot about until I went back through my old notes, which I really should have done much earlier. So a bottoms up clean, if you remember yesterday, we did the regressed cleans, where basically we had the barbell with the handle going front to back. We're doing it on the right hand side, okay? So the right hand regress clean is right hand on the bell, left hand over the top. We're gonna use our hips and our glutes to drive it up. We're gonna rotate the bell so then we catch it here. So this is a regress clean, okay? Right? Because we're using two hands, up and catch. And this is the rack position. This is what we're trying to do. And it's called a clean because the process of getting it from here up to here is one nice, clean, short, sharp movement, right? okay? Like that. Now, in order to get this strength, in order to get the forearm up vertical with the wrist in a nice straight position, because remember, we don't want that. We don't want any of that at all. We want the forearm vertical with a strong wrist. We want to strengthen the wrists a bit. So what we're going to do now is from the single hand swing, instead of letting it swing out in front of us, what we're going to do is make the bar path a bit more vertical by bending the elbow. So instead of going out to the front, we're going to keep that elbow nice and close to the body. We're still going to use the same hip drive and the same posterior power to kick it up, but we're going to bend at the elbow and instead we're going to catch it, okay? So this is what it should look like. And hold it for a second. Down, catch and hold. Catch and hold. So you see we're swinging up, we're keeping that elbow nice and close. Catch and hold. So be very, very careful with this one. Try it for a couple of reps first, very, very carefully, because it's not necessarily teaching you a clean, but it's going to teach you to keep your forearm vertical with a nice straight wrist, okay? You're not gonna be able to catch it and hold it like that. It's just not gonna happen. You need to have it up vertical. So this is where you may actually wanna go to a lighter weight than what you're currently working with. So a 6 kilo here, right? Okay? And you see, just adding a little bit of extra weight, so much more power and coordination required. Good. So that's the bottoms up clean. And this is gonna lead to, in our blue intermediate workouts, the full clean, okay? So after the bottoms up clean, we're gonna let the forearms take a little bit of a rest, so let the swings take a bit of a rest, and we're gonna go into what we call goblet squats. So a goblet squat, what we're gonna do is picking up, using a really, really nice deadlift form off of the ground, but we're gonna grab the bell by the horns. So it's gonna be, actually, we're gonna go this way. Horns is for the last movement, sorry. We're gonna pick it up, we're gonna hold the bell on the bottom. See my eyes through the window? See, I want you to be peering through the handle. You need to be looking through the handle, and look how close it is to my chin. Very, very close to my chin. Elbows bent, arms in nice and close, tucked into your body. And what we're gonna do from here, getting into a really, really nice squat position, squatting down and then up. So this is the goblet squat, because you can see my hands, it's making the shape of a big old cup, big old goblet. And very important with this one, that what we're doing is now we're not hinging at the hip, we're keeping the torso upright, keeping the heels flat on the floor, feet splayed, so that you put all of your power through the bottom of your foot there. And that, my friends, is the goblet squat. We're gonna shift over to them. Has there been any popping in the microphone throughout this, by the way? After the goblet squat, one last movement, and this is for shoulder mobility and strength. Mad Monkey knows all about this one, right? This is the one where we're gonna reach down, grab the bull by the horns, grab the bell by the horns, lift it up. Now, what we're gonna do with this one, bracing the core, squeezing the butt, standing up nice and tall. This bell is not gonna touch my head, and it's not going to drop low or high. I want it to keep it at the same height. It's gonna be at eye height this whole time. We're gonna rotate it one direction around our head. Back to the start, and then the other direction. So this is the one where you're gonna get that rice bubble shoulder. I do, at least. Bit of a snap, crackle, pop in there. Because what we're doing, we're putting the shoulder through a nice big range of motion, okay? Cool. So, winning with halos, absolutely, absolutely. QT, thanks for following. So that's all of our movements. That's all of them, okay? Glute bridge, knee pushes, swings around the worlds, single arm swings, bottom up cleans, goblet squats, and halos. So let's get into the workout now. We're gonna count it down, 20 seconds. Beep, remember we're starting with those glute bridges. So pop your kettlebell to one side, grab your mat. Start on your watches as well. If you haven't started them already, hit go. If you've got a heart rate strap and your watch isn't on your wrist, or it's flipped around the other way, press go, cardio mode. Whoops. Beep, beep. And we're gonna start off with these glute bridges. Let's go. So sitting down on the floor, with our bell at our hips, supporting the bell with our hands, press it towards the ceiling as high as you can go. Squeeze the butt, squeeze the hamstring. So now that we've been through all of the movements, you've heard how important activation of the glutes and the hamstrings is. You can see now why I'm starting this whole workout with just squeezing the butt and squeezing the hamstrings. Powerful hip drive. That's what kettlebells are all about. Strong core, powerful hip drive. Throw this weight around like it's nothing, okay? Thanks, Grace. We're gonna go into the knee push-ups now. Bell on the right side. So for those that can do full push-ups, have a shot, see how you go. Well, we're gonna start off with knee push-ups. So I'm gonna have left hand on the floor, right hand on the bell. The angle at which the handle is gonna depend on how comfortable you are. Some people might find their wrists feel better there. Some people might find 45 degrees, but either way, putting the hips between your knees and your shoulders, keep kicking those heels up towards your butt, and then dropping down as far as you safely can towards the floor. So full extension in the left hand for this push-up. So what we're doing with this, we're getting the shoulder into a bit of a deficit range of motion. Go down, you'll feel a nice stretch in the front of the shoulder, the anterior delt. You'll also feel the pec with a nice deep stretch in that too. And this is one of those movements where we're not using the bell as a resistance, like I mentioned earlier. We're using it as a tool to change your range of motion, or to work in a slightly different range of motion, okay? Here we go. Knee push-ups left. So we've got a few more seconds. Again, shake it off. You're gonna straighten that right hand on the mat, left hand on the bell, knees back. Be very, it's very important that you have your hips in between the knees and the shoulders. What I mean by that, don't let your hips move like that. I'd rather a straight body, which sometimes it is hard to know when you're doing this. You might actually have to take a bit of a video of yourself or do it in front of a mirror so you can have a look in the mirror for form checking. But I am a fan of videoing because when you use a mirror, sometimes your eyes divert and you turn your neck or you turn your head just to look in the mirror, okay? Yeah, I'm on the full carousel this morning. We've got lots and lots of new friends today. It's fantastic. Welcome in, new friends. New year, new you. Join in. Hopefully we can teach some good habits that carry on throughout the whole year. Hopefully you can see that fitness can be fun, adds so much to your quality of life. We get into swings now. So swings, remember, this is a hinge, hip hinge. I'm gonna do it from side on so you can see what I'm doing, okay? Start with the bell in front of you. Brace the core, push the butt back. Shins are pretty much vertical. It's like a deadlift, but I'm gonna pick it up behind my body. I'm using my hips and my glutes to drive it up forward. My arms are ropes. My hands are hooks. I'm not using any shoulder muscles for this. It's all in the butt and the hamstrings. Good. Could take a bit of time to get that right. I don't want to be seeing squats, okay? The number one thing that I want you to be doing is hinging the hips, making that torso lean forward, lean back, lean forward, lean back. It's not this. We don't want that, okay? So if you need a video yourself, please do. And if you don't mind sharing the video for a form check, put it in our Discord and we can have a chat about what you might want to be doing. Okay, around the worlds, standing up nice and straight. Again, squeezing the butt, bracing the core here. We're gonna go 4 times around the body. 3, 4, and then reverse direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change direction. Here we go. 1. Standing tall. Change and reverse. And you can bring it down. Once it's in front of you, just drop it down in between your feet there. There you go. Oh yeah, look, I don't think there's any redundancy unless you're working to a strict program from an elite level coach there. Kendall, oh man, why isn't this working? Oh no. Here we go, let's fix this up. How you going, Kendall? Mate, we're doing single arm swings. I'm just gonna bring this back up. Oh no, things are busted. Green, go, nice. All right, Kendall, how are you? That's for you. Single arm swings, right hand. So, same deal as with the double hand swings, but this time you're rotating the bell. Remember that cue that I told you, thumb towards the bum, okay? When the bell is in front of you, the handle's gonna be going left and right. As it comes down towards your body, you're gonna hinge at the hips, push the butt back, and rotate it so the thumb's towards the bum, okay? So that's for radius and ulnar health. They're the two bones in your forearm here. It's a little bit more natural for it to rotate as it goes that way. Plus you're gonna get some really, really nice external rotation in the shoulder as you thrust out. So really, really nice external stuff. Cool, next one, we've got the left-hand side single arm swing. How are you, Kendall? How was your stream? You've caught us in the middle of our YouTube recording. There we go. So don't worry about how high you're actually getting the bell. I want you to focus more on the glute activation and that posterior power, thrusting up. If the bell doesn't go very high, then thrust harder. Use more power in the hips, don't use your shoulder. Mouse, good morning, how are you? Okay, let the smoke clear a little bit. We've got our bottoms up clean. So now we're gonna take that theory, take that power from the single arm swings. We're gonna power it up, but instead of swinging in front of us, we're gonna keep the elbow nice and close to the body, bend the elbow, a little bit of bicep work and stabilization, and then catching it here. So then we hold it for 1 second. So here, this is what it looks like. Start the swing, straight up, catch and hold. Down, swing, up and hold. This one might take some practice, chat. So please, please, please use a light weight if you need to. But what we're learning with this is that forearm straight up and the knuckles in a straight line. So forearm and knuckles, straight line. We're also doing that rotation. You see where we're rotating it from here up to there, and we're catching it on the bottom there. Cool. Oh no, mouse. Okay, bottoms up clean, left hand side. Here we go. Catching yourself. How do we all feel with that one, by the way? If there's anyone in chat that's following along with this, you see how I start with the bell slightly in front of me? That's so that when I pick it up, I can push it behind my legs, use that for the power. Up and catch. Catch it, hold it. So the question, Mr. Space Commander, you can use a dumbbell with this. The kettlebell is going to have some slightly different mechanics behind it, because you can see that the weight on a kettlebell is actually offset from the handle. So I do like the kettlebell, but a dumbbell would be an okay replacement if you want to do that as well. You're just not going to get the same sort of mechanics, especially in that upwards hold, because that's just holding a dumbbell, right? With the kettlebell, you've got the weight above the hand, so it's gonna add a little bit more to that. So goblet squats, what we're gonna do, raise it up to the chest, holding it underneath, eyes through the window, eyes through the hole there. Elbows nice and close to the body, deep squat. So I'd like you to squat down as far as you can whilst keeping your heels on the floor. Butt back, torso upright, squeezing the butt and the glutes. You're gonna find some quads working here too. It's a squat. So it's a big, heavy leg movement with a weight. Nice. Shake this out because we are going to do our halos next. So make sure your shoulders are good. Shoulders are loosey-goosey. You're going to tighten your core up here, squeeze the butt, standing up nice and tall. Here we go, 13 seconds. Gee, a bit longer, a bit long. Makalito's got you, mate. Everything Makalito's saying there, always on. So we're gonna lift the bell up, but we're grabbing it by the horns weight up above. It's gonna be at eye level and it's never gonna drop lower or higher than eye level. So you're swinging around. Let me look at you. Because what you're doing, you're raising one hand up above and you see my head is not moving, okay? I'm not pushing my head backwards and forwards. My head stays at the same height. It's the bell that rotates around. Now be careful not to hit your head with the bell. That's your main goal today. Do not hit your head. As long as you're following those rules, you go nice and slowly. Slow and controlled is better. You can become faster once you're good at the form, but if you speed up without good form, you're gonna smack yourself and it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be nice, okay? So be very careful throwing things around. Yep. So long rest now. We're gonna go back into this. I'm gonna grab the mat because we're starting off with mat movements. We're gonna re-engage the glutes, re-engage the core. Here we go. How's everyone feeling? If you're watching this on YouTube, leave some comments down below. Are there any movements you're struggling with? Are there any questions you have about equipment workouts? I've got 51 body weight workouts lined up. I've got 49 of them online now. These are the first set of equipment workouts we're doing, and they do take a little bit longer to get into, a little bit longer to explain, because I don't really want to just be throwing things out there and leaving people to their own devices, especially when it comes to holding a big heavy weight. So squeezing up. This is the movement where you might feel like you can actually get some more power out of this. And a lot of people, when they start doing glute bridges body weight, it can be struggling. It can be a struggle, I should say. But you can quickly actually realize how powerful your glutes are when you start adding weights, because 10 kilos, you're like, oh, that's all right. I could probably do 15, I could put 20 kilos on my pelvis. So yeah, see how you go. You might surprise yourself by how much power you can garner out of your own glutes. So we're leaving the mat here because we've got our knee push-ups to do, okay? So I like the 45 degrees. I like having the handle at that 45 degrees there. Again, you wanna squeeze your butt with this one. Left hand, straight, full extension. Right hand is bent. And what we're gonna do, push those knees back, squeeze the butt, make sure the butt is in line with the shoulders and the knees. I'm gonna get all the way down to the ground. See that? Big deficit in the shoulder, in this right shoulder. You don't need to go that far. Just go down as far as you feel like you're getting a nice stretch. You're testing that range of motion. If you can just tickle the threshold, just go a little bit further than what you'd normally do. That's where your gains are made. That's where your body starts adaptation, because it knows now you're testing the boundaries, okay? So it's gonna start to become stronger in areas that you never really played with. Okay, here we go. Left hand side. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with kettlebells, and I've only really just scratched the surface with these two workouts today and yesterday. So green level, here we go. Because I don't really want to be stressing my chest and my triceps too much. Right now, what we're doing is stressing the range of motion. I don't mind that I'm doing these from the knees. You can, obviously, if you're strong enough, go to the toes, and it becomes a hell of a lot more difficult on the forearm, and the balance and the deficit becomes a little bit more intense, doesn't it? So start with the knees, right? You're excited to see some of the depths of kettlebell workouts. If this is scratching the surface, mate, you'll want to be here on Friday. Friday is my purple day, and I'm planning some fantastical things with it. We've got the swings now, so move the mat out of the way. Move everything out of the way that you might potentially damage. Have a lot of room around yourself, okay? The bell is starting in front of me. You see that? In front of the body, hinging at the hips. I'm getting into this nice deadlift or this nice good morning position, grabbing the bell, shoulder blades back, kicking it backwards and then thrusting up. I'm puffing my chest out. I'm squeezing the butt. Puffing the chest is a really, really good cue because it engages your lats, it engages the muscles on the back of your shoulders. And I'll tell you right now, if you've ever done a big kettlebell workout, if you've done 200, 300, 400 swings, one of the places that feels DOMS is up here because you're working so hard at pulling those shoulder blades back to stop the bell from flying forward, okay? Around the world, standing up nice and tall. So now that we're going through the second time, you should feel hopefully that these reps are a little bit more familiar to you now. So standing up, we're gonna go anti-clockwise first. Up to you what you wanna do, but we're gonna go 4 revolutions. There, and then swing it around the other way. Standing tall, puff the chest out, squeeze the butt, squeeze the quads. Your legs are tree trunks. I want your feet to be rooted to the ground. So don't let your toes or your heels come up off the ground. They should be flat, all of the power holding yourself up nice and tall. Good. And then using really nice, whenever you put down or pick up a kettlebell, don't just, no. You want to be doing a proper deadlift each time you pick that up. Whenever you're doing things on the floor, either squat down to do stuff or good morning deadlift to do stuff. Never drop your form outside of the gym. Take this out to real life because this is what it's for your life. Single arm swings, let's go. Start with the bell out in front of us. Remember, I want to try and keep the shoulder blades level here. Kick it back and thrust forward. So hopefully in the second round now as well, you do see a little bit of a progression, a little bit of a correlation. The reason why I try and teach single arm swings first and then we look at cleans is because you still want to get that power and the drive out of your glutes and your hamstrings. You want to power and drive out of the hip and the core, but then slightly different mechanics with the arm in which you bend and catch. Bend, rotate, catch here, okay? Sherman Tank, I love your energy, mate. Love your energy. Thanks to everyone for joining today. We do have a few more friends than we would normally have in Fit For Purpose here, so please don't be afraid to say hi. We do love our lurkers, but there is nothing quite like having a new friend say hello, introduce themselves, and able to ask questions of some of the really knowledgeable people we have here in chat. So I'm Jeff, that's my name. I am a qualified personal trainer. Soon, TM, to be qualified in nutrition as well. And I've also been on a massive weight loss journey. So here's my pick right there. I know the ups and downs, physically, mentally, financially, in what it takes to lose a lot of weight as well. So feel free to ask any questions. And if it's in my scope of experience or qualification, then happy to have a chat with everyone. All right, we're on the right-hand side now. We're taking this swing methodology, but now we're gonna keep that elbow nice and close, right? We're gonna twist it up and catch it on the bottom, hold it for a second. Here we go. Again, hips and glutes. What we're focusing on is that verticality of the forearm and the knuckles. Hold it for as long as what you feel like your grip strength can muster. Good. So holding it upright like this, because that's how you want to be catching it in a clean. You don't want sloppy wrists. We want to focus on the power in the wrist there. Yes, Mouse, nutrition. I found a suitable certification. I'm going to kick it off this month and hopefully become much more well-rounded as a wellness resource for everyone here. Okay, bottom up clean with the left-hand side. Starting off with that swing, remember? Tuck the elbow, bend, and catch. So the main focus, again, I'm going to repeat it. The main focus of this movement is the vertical forearm, knuckles upright, nice strong grip in the bell there. Good. Thanks, Mouse. Thanks, Mouse. Goblet squats now. So we're gonna change from the hip hinge into working the front of the legs. They have a payment plan option, correct. So I'm able to put a deposit down, and then as long as I've got clients throughout the week, as long as I've got 2 clients each week, then I can pay it off. So I just need to make sure I've got more clients so I can pay rent as well. So yeah. Okay, we're bringing the bell up. We're looking through the window. So that's my main goal for throughout this year, is to actually make sure I'm making enough money and putting enough aside so I can pay tax. So I can pay rent and pay for tuition fees. I'm going back to being one of those students eating ramen noodles. Good, good. How those squats feel? And the mortgage. Yeah, mortgage, payments, all the things. We are adults. This is adulting. Basically, just be an adult. I think that's the crux of it, isn't it? Okay, we got halos to do. How good is adulting? Fart noises. Here we go. Okay, grabbing it by the horns. Belly's upside down. Repeat, rotate. Keep your head in the same spot, but keep the bell at the same altitude as well. So big open shoulders. Alternating the direction here. Clockwise and anti-clockwise. Clockwise and anti-clockwise. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Nice. Good, 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 good. All right, team, that was 2 rounds done. It was. I paid mine off a couple of years back. Fantastic. I suppose, you know what the good, I thought about this the other day, Grace, because my actual business income, I forgot about the threshold. You have to hit a certain threshold before you have to start paying off your student loans. So I may have actually been able to get away with not adding too much more if I were to go back to uni until I was earning a certain amount. But like you said there, Mouse, it's a bit of a blocker, isn't it? All right, glute bridges, let's go. Literally, what Grace and I did before we got the mortgage was pay off our HEX debts. So here we go. Bringing those heels up towards our butts. Squeeze the butt, squeeze the hamstrings, pressing towards the ceiling. Now, good, good, good. Keep pushing, keep pushing. You notice I'm not changing the weight with this bell. I'll probably use a heavier bell for tomorrow's workout, the 2 blue ones that we do, because I'd like everyone to challenge themselves a little bit. But for a beginner, please just use a light bell until you feel 100% with your technique. Technique is paramount. Bracing, butt squeeze, technique, paramount, okay? They say abs are built in the kitchen, but you don't have any of those, so. You don't have any kitchens? Oh no! Okay, we're gonna grab the bell, put it on the right-hand side here. Pick a comfortable angle for that handle, and knee push-ups. Bend the knees so that your heels are towards your butt, but full hip extension. So your hips are in a straight line. So really work on that shoulder deficit push-ups, these are also called. This is a really good way to actually work into deficit push-ups with one hand, one arm, and from the knees, so you're not putting too much weight onto the actual movement. Here we go, swapping sides. And yeah, look, don't need abs. Yeah, abs are a funny thing. Yeah, I know that sometimes people think of visible abs as a sign of weakness, but they're more a sign of a low body fat percentage, potentially dangerously low. Here we go. Because abs are visible on anyone, any human that has a low enough body percentage, a body fat percentage. But you require a certain amount of body fat for healthy hormone function. Your body stores fat for a reason. It stores it there so that it can call upon it when it needs it. And if your body fat gets low enough, your body goes into a little bit of a survival instinct, a little bit of a survival mode, where it's like, hang on. If we were to fall into a nuclear winter right now, we'd be stuffed. So it does often, it can, at a long enough time, at a low enough body fat percentage, it can do a little bit of metabolic damage in terms of it changing your basal metabolic rate, okay? Yeah, okay, here we go. Swings, we got the swings now. So again, third round, focus on form. Swings are not an easy thing to master. And even after years, I'm picking myself up and I have people picking me up on my form. So I'm starting with the bell in front of me, hinging at the hips. I'm gonna puff that chest out, pull it back, squeeze the butt. So it's gonna pendulum. It's going to have a natural resonant frequency. And that depends upon the length of your arms and how much force you're applying on the downstroke. The velocity of the bell will determine how many swings you get per minute. Hip hinge. You're gonna lean forward and then thrust it up. We're not bending the knees and squatting it up, okay? That's the last time I'm gonna say it, but I want it to be stuck in your heads there, okay? Let's hear it for protein powder. Way, Flitwit. Hey. Good one. Okay, standing up nice and tall for these Wheaties around the world here. Welcome in, Fitwit. How are ya? Standing up. So around the world, you're changing from hand to hand. We do 4 rotations. Squeezing the butt, bracing the core. Rotate the other way now. 4, and swing it around the other way. 1, 2. That dad joke. Oh goodness. I nearly dropped the kettlebell. Wow. Yeah. Your immediate goal, Sherman Tank, is to be 300 pounds and then 250 and then 200. But those are just dreams? No. Oh, well, yeah, okay, they're dreams. They're dreams right now. But they're not too difficult to convert into goals. They're really not. We can talk about that after if you want. I've got single arm swings to do. So I'm gonna step back a little bit, hinge at the hips, grab it with that right arm, make sure my shoulders are nice and squared away. Pick it up and swing backwards and then up. My hips aren't hinging until my arm is now vertical. And then using the drive, okay? Try not to hit yourself in the ghoulies or whatever is in your regions there. Don't smack them, it can be painful. Make sure you've got enough of that hip hinge so you can clear whatever is here to be hurting and get that bell in between the legs, thrusting forward there. Good. Yeah, so goals and a safe approach to reaching your goals is what's gonna change a dream to a reality. That sounds cheesy, but look, that's kind of it, isn't it? So there's no real secret to it. Ghoulies is a good one. Left hand single arm swing, stepping back a touch. We're gonna hip hinge, good morning. Pick it up, pull it back, and then thrust forward. Powerful hip thrust. Powerful hip explosion. Nads. Good. Trying to square up my shoulders again. Just remind myself that that's what I'm trying to do here. Nice. This is one of my favorite tracks, this song. I love this song. Wow. It's a good one. Bottoms up cleans, taking our single arm swing strength, converting it into a vertical rise, catch and a hold, strong, powerful forearms. This one's a fantastic movement for wrist strength as well. Well, hopefully this is the hardest it's gonna be. Starting it, 100%. Okay, here we go. Get that swing in. Up and catch. Nice. Tip of the day from Tony Horton. Don't smash your face. So catch and hold. Awesome. Good, that feels good. Hardest part is starting and then dealing with guilt if you don't keep up. That does show a little bit of an unhealthy look at things if you are feeling guilty for not doing it. Sure, shame and guilt is a great motivator for certain people, but for other people it can actually be debilitating. It can lead to all sorts of unhealthy outcomes in terms of mental health. So, look, I think it's more about getting back on track for when you need to. So swing, up, catch and hold. Focus. The breathing. Breathe in nice and tight. Core. Breathe out once you're at the top here. Whoa. I've got slippery, sweaty hands. Look at that. If you need to dry your hands, please do. Don't stress about that. Chalk is great. Chalk is awesome. The other thing about chalk though, bells will sometimes be swinging and sliding in between your hands. So sometimes chalk can actually lead to calluses tearing off. But you also want to, I'm looking at it like, don't you hit my face. Don't hit my face, mate. That's the way I'm looking at it. Okay, here we go, goblet squats. Picking this bell up, hands underneath it like it's a goblet, looking through the hole in the handle. Deep squats up, keeping, there we go, keeping the feet flat on the floor, engage those glutes. Press through the floor, press through the whole earth with your quads. Rising this nice heavy weight now. So we're upgrading our bodyweight squats slightly. And when you are upgrading bodyweight squats, the first squat I teach people is the goblet squat. You can do this with a kettlebell, you can do this with a dumbbell. It's probably the best squat that you can do if you don't own a barbell, because it teaches you to hold your posture upright, okay? Oh, yeah, okay, I get that. Halos, let's do our halos and I can talk to your question there, Sherman Tank. Okay, we're gonna lift it by the horns, up, nice and tall. Okay, here we go. Rotating, alternating directions, same altitude, nice and far enough behind the head that we're not touching the head with the bell at all, okay? And down on the floor, shake out those arms, shake out the shoulders. A couple of very good stretches for today actually is gonna be the forward fold. You've been using a lot of glutes, a lot of hamstrings, so what I want you to do, hinging at the hips, spread those legs a little bit like this, and reach down towards the floor. Straight back, fingertips on the floor if you can manage it, straight legs. Hold this for about 2 minutes. After you've done that, you'll also want to stretch the upper back muscles. You can do that by grabbing your hands, overlapping one in front of the other, and then reaching forward. It's perfectly fine to have a curve in the back if you're stretching muscles. The times that you don't want to curve yourself is when you're moving under load, okay? So there's lots and lots of rules and lots of cues around curved backs, and usually it's the safest to say just don't curve your back. It is actually safe to move with a curved back as long as the curve doesn't increase under loading while you're moving, okay? So it becomes very complex, and it's all gonna work on a very, very person by person basis. But in the context of what I'm doing right now, curving and stretching the muscles is perfectly fine. Hold this for about 2 minutes. Shake it out. go to sleep, eat well, recover well, and we'll see you all tomorrow or the next time you watch the YouTube videos for a blue intermediate kettlebell workout. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you next time.